I think we'll start with some meditation. So find a comfortable position. We want our spine to be straight, but it's not stiff or tight, to really be able to sit in a way that you feel balanced and relaxed. You can do a scan through the body, starting at the top of your head, noticing any tightness or tension, feeling. And gradually let your attention come down, face, back of your head, softening around your eyes, your cheeks, your jaw, letting go of any tightness that might be there. Sometimes I use the breath. I'll breathe in, feel the part of the body, and then as I breathe out, let go of any holding or tension. Just relax, relaxing the muscles of the face, relaxing the muscles in the neck, letting the shoulders drop. Letting the arms relax and the hands. Feeling the chest and the upper back. Releasing any tension there might be there. This is a way of being kind to the body. We can be grateful for the parts that are not in pain, that are content, peaceful. And if we find any discomfort in our back, for instance, we can bring some kindness to it. And on every exhalation, see if you can let go a little bit more. Noticing the belly and the lower back, letting go of any tightness there. Bringing attention to your legs and your feet. And just inviting them all to relax. Maybe you've done this 1,000 times before, but every time in the present moment, it's a new moment. Human life is busy, oftentimes stressful. The body holds a lot that we don't even realize, so we can really give it some attention and give it a chance to let go. Bring our attention to our breathing. Just noticing the in-breath and the out-breath. Every time we breathe in, being aware that we're breathing in. And when we're breathing out, being aware that we're breathing out. And then we can notice the quality of the breath. Is it a deep breath or a shallow in-breath or out-breath? Is it smooth or maybe a little bit ragged? It doesn't matter. What matters is the awareness. Whenever we are paying attention to our breathing, we're aware, or paying attention to whatever in the body or whatever our object is, that awareness, the mindfulness, is what we establish and use that as a way to calm the body and the mind. Be present with what we're experiencing. When we ask questions about the breath, like whether it's long or short, that's a way of establishing mindfulness. Whatever we investigate, we're being mindful of it. And even though we're aware of our breathing in, we can also spread our awareness to take in the whole body. And also, as we're breathing out, being present and aware of the whole body. So when the Buddha gave these instructions for our meditation, he asked us to be aware of the breathing as we're breathing in and as we're breathing out. And then also have our attention moving first to the depth or length of the breath and then to the whole body. And then with the thought of inviting the whole body to become calm. Letting go, becoming tranquil and at peace, calming all the functions of the body. You might feel some relief, particularly if the body has been holding some tension. And as we experience the body relaxing, the mind might also naturally follow and become more calm. The Buddha's next instruction was about feeling, noticing any pleasant feeling arising in the body. And even that small amount of relaxation can bring up pleasant feeling. Maybe a feeling that's more spacious, more open. Maybe some feeling of joy or happiness that comes from being mindful and relaxed. And under these conditions, when we're have our attention focused inward, or becoming calm, and even the mindfulness brings this joy And when we put our attention on that pleasant feeling, it tends to increase. Sometimes I would spend a long time at this step, allowing the pleasant feeling to increase and spread through the body. It's not really something we can make happen, but we set up the causes for it to happen. And what are those causes? Having our attention on our breathing, allowing that to be a calming force. Being happy, having our attitude turned towards what's good, what's wholesome, what brings happiness. Not thinking about things, but just that intention to be happy, relaxed, and at ease. And we might feel various kinds of pleasant feeling. The pleasant feeling that comes with gratitude, the pleasant feeling that we might think of as joy, the pleasant feeling, which in Pali is called Sukha, happiness. The pleasant feeling of loving kindness. The pleasant feeling that comes with faith. And the Buddha had us turn our attention to the mind, to thoughts, the activity of the mind. It might have already slowed down quite a lot. You first notice the activity of the mind and then invite it to become more and more calm. Letting go. Letting go of thinking. And that might take us quite far down the road of letting go of becoming. Because when we think, there's usually a sense of self there. I'm thinking about this, or these are my memories. These are my plans. And we sit down to meditate, we can let go of all of that. You don't have to be anything right now. Just present. Just aware. Awareness itself isn't anyone. It isn't anything. And even when the thoughts calm down completely, which whether that happens or it does not happen isn't so important. We're not trying to do anything. We're just aware. But behind the thoughts, there can be a mental state. Mental state that's colored by desire or aversion or delusion, a mental state that might be very expansive or contracted and tight. And the Buddha said, just notice what is the state of the mind. Not trying to change anything just yet. Just noticing what's there. Behind, you might say, as a backdrop to whatever mental activity there might still be in the mind. And then the Buddha said we can gladden the mind, bring in a thought of something that really lifts up the heart, lifts up the mind. It could be the sense of gratitude that we have for our teachers, that we have for our parents, that we have for those good friends, our Kalyanamitta. And the happy mind is easily concentrated. So from this point, when there's time and space, you can spend time just in that state of awareness and happiness and allow the process to take over. There's a point at which the meditation does itself. And you're just an observer. Or better yet, you are not there at all. But the awareness is clear, mindfulness is clear, sharp. And meditation unfolds. All kinds of things can happen in this space. Visions, or colors, or lights, or sound, or nothing. Whatever. There might be hindrances to be dealt with. We might lose our focus, but we can bring it back to our breathing. At each step in this process, we're still observing our in-breath and our out-breath, along with whatever the current instruction is. To be happy and at ease, lifting up the mind. aware of whatever might arise, knowing that whatever it is, it's just phenomena. Arising from causes and conditions. Even the most amazing meditations ever, still phenomena. They can be very helpful, valuable in bringing the mind to a point where it can easily investigate the Dhamma, aware of impermanence. That all phenomena are impermanent, all sankharas. They arise and cease in the mind. We don't have to take ownership of them. In fact, we really can't. Thinking it's me or mine is really delusion. So we become aware of this constant changing, this instability of phenomena. Aware of our in-breath and our out-breath, with mindfulness firmly established, taking refuge really in that awareness, in that mindfulness. We're undisturbed by whatever comes through, whatever arises. We can observe it, watch it come and go. And over time, our attachment fades, our interest in the changing phenomena recedes and finally ceases. And the mind is free. We let go. And realize peace, contentment, clarity, free of hindrances, free of defilements. And in this process, there is the possibility of insight to arise. And whether any insight or wisdom arises, we've set up some causes and conditions for that to occur. And it can happen anytime, during any waking moment. We can decide to give ourselves entirely to the practice. When we practice every moment, every waking moment, by being present, aware, noticing the patterns that we've been conditioned by, and the amount of choice, the opportunities we have to set the direction of our life. So I was thinking of sharing a little bit about what the Buddha said about gratitude. There are a few suttas, some of them quite short. I think I might share the screen with you and show you what these look like. Might be a little bit easier to take in. So it starts out with ungrateful, but we get to the grateful part. And like I said, some of these are very short suttas. It says, when a foolish, incompetent, untrue person has four qualities, they keep themselves broken and damaged. They deserve to be blamed and criticized by sensible people, and they brim with much wickedness. What for? Bad conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, and being ungrateful and thankless. So it puts gratitude and thankfulness at a pretty high level, really. It said that an astute person, also identified here as a true person, has four qualities, and they keep themselves intact, undamaged. They do not deserve to be blamed or criticized by sensible people, and they brim with much merit. And those four qualities are good conduct by way of body, speech, and mind, and being grateful and thankful. And the word here for gratitude and thankfulness is katanyata, is gratitude, and katavedita is appreciativeness or thankfulness. And then we have another ungrateful sutta. And the four qualities, it says, is cast down to hell. Someone with these four qualities cast down to hell. I think in one translation, it's like hell when you have these four qualities. And again, it's the unwholesome conduct or the unvirtuous conduct by body, speech, and mind, and being ungrateful and thankless. And when we are grateful and thankful and virtuous, it's like being raised up to heaven. And we can really, I can observe this in my own mind. I have a friend who would say, I create my own personal hell in my mind. And we do, or we get stuck there sometimes in, kind of a miserable way of thinking and mental state. And I think many of you probably do this. And I've had friends who would make a concerted effort of identifying what they're thankful for. I had one friend who was like, can you write to me every day about 7 things you're thankful for? Well, that lasted for a little while, but there's a lot of other things to do in life. But it's a really good idea and a good practice, to notice if the mind is getting very caught up in what seems to be wrong in life and turning towards what we can appreciate. And
I'm being particular, but which are the 4 qualities? I see good conduct, grateful and thankful.
Yeah, good conduct by body, speech, and mind.
So why isn't that 3? Why isn't it? I'm sorry.
That's 3.
That's 3. Oh,
great. And I think the being grateful and thankful is like one together, like the way they made that compound word. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I know.
It's all true.
What?
It's all true. I experience.
Yeah.
It's good teaching. I love it. Thank you.
Well, and the beauty of it is we can, the challenge of conventional reality is that things change all the time. Everything is constantly changing. And our personalities, if we think we're this body and mind and all of the conditioning that brought us to this point in our life, if we start to see that that's not really a self, and we can also notice in reflection on that how quickly it changes. Like the personality just changes so easily. Someone smiles at you and your personality is, like the conditions of your mind and even your body change. Or, someone says something harsh to us and how quickly this collection of processes is affected. And then the good news is we can consciously make those changes. And we all do that, bring ourselves around away from focusing on the qualities in other people that we really find annoying or difficult, those criticisms, to thinking about what we appreciate in them, their good qualities. And again, everything in this conventional reality has both the positive and the negative, the beautiful and the not so great, good and bad about everything. So we can decide where to put our attention. And here's a little sutta that comes out of the Samyutta Nikaya, Connected Discourses, and it's about the Devas. The Lord of the Devas, Sakka, was in private retreat, and he had this thought: I should never betray even a sworn enemy. Well, that would fall in alignment with that good actions by body, speech, and mind, I would say. And then his sworn enemy, Vipachiti, Lord of the Asuras, he knew that Sakka's thought. Okay, so these are 2 different groups of, I'd say, heavenly beings that are always kind of at war with each other. And he hears Sakka's thought or knows it, and he approaches him. And Sakka sees Vipachiti coming off in the distance, and he says, "Stop, you're caught." So it's like he's, like ready to do battle. And then Vipachiti says, "No, wait, don't give up that idea you just had." But then Saka says, well, swear, Vipachiti, that you won't betray me. And then Vipachiti says, whatever bad things happen to a liar, or to someone who slanders the noble ones, or to someone who betrays a friend, or someone who's ungrateful, the same bad things impact anyone who betrays you, Saka. Suja's husband. Now, the reason apparently Saka's wife is named Suja, and she's an Ashura. They're really family. So this idea that, we can be on the outs with someone even quite close to us, but we should never betray them. It's a nice thought. Things that happen to those that are ungrateful. You don't want to fall into that category. This little sutta is referring to the Buddha's cousin, thinking of family members. Devadatta, he was causing a lot of trouble. He tried to kill the Buddha. I don't know if you know that. And then one morning the Buddha said, did you hear that old jackal howling at the crack of dawn? The monks say yes. There might be some gratitude and thankfulness in that old jackal, but there's none in a certain person here who claims to follow the Sakyan. Devadatta is part of the Sangha, but he's completely without gratitude and thankfulness. So the Buddha said, you should train like this. We will be grateful and thankful. We won't forget even a small thing done for us. So who knows, if you come on New Year's Day, either online or in person, you might get this instruction for your year. So New Year's Day is a day long, and I think the part that the online folks will be engaging in is in the early afternoon. I don't know if that works for everybody. Might be getting kind of late for some of you. But we'll see. And then there's this one. I'll teach you the level of the untrue person and the level of the true person. And the Buddha says, the untrue person is ungrateful and thankless. For the wicked only know how to be ungrateful and thankless. It's totally the level of the untrue person to be ungrateful and thankless. A true person is grateful and thankful. For the virtuous only know how to be grateful and thankful. It's totally the level of the true person to be grateful and thankful. And then the next sutta in this is in the book of Twos in the Anguttara Nikaya. And the next one is the one that you often hear quoted about gratitude or repaying our mother and father. The Buddha said it's hard to repay them, and you would not have done enough even if you were to carry your mother around on one shoulder and your father on the other. And if you lived like this for 100 years, if you were to anoint, massage, bathe, and rub them, and even if they were to defecate and urinate right there, even if you were to establish your mother and father as supreme monarchs of this great earth, abounding in the 7 treasures, you would still not have done enough to repay them. Why is that? Parents are very helpful to their children. They raise them, nurture them, and they show them the world. But you have done enough, more than enough, to repay them if you encourage, settle, and ground unfaithful parents in faith, unethical parents in ethical conduct, stingy parents in generosity, or ignorant parents in wisdom. And of course, it's not always possible. They have to want to. But it's good to try. And then the last one that I wanted to share with you is this story of King Pasenadi of Kosala. He was coming from the forefront, victorious in battle, his purpose having been achieved. And he set out for the park, for the place where the Buddha was staying. And he went by as far as he could by carriage, and then he dismounted the carriage and entered the park on foot. And there were some bhikkhus, some monks, doing walking meditation, walking back and forth in the open air. He approached them and he asked, "Where is the Buddha now dwelling? I want to see the Blessed One, the Arahant, the perfectly enlightened one." And they said, "Great King, his dwelling is over there with the closed door. Approach it quietly, without hurrying, enter the porch, clear your throat, and tap on the bolt or tap on the door. The Blessed One will open the door for you." I just love this image. The king coming to see the Buddha. It's also simple and plain, it's like it's so common feeling in a way. So the king did just that, and the Buddha opened the door, and the king came in and he prostrated himself on the floor with his head at the Buddha's feet. And then he started to caress the Buddha's feet with his hands and kiss his feet. And the Buddha's like, "What's up, king?" Kind of like, why do you show such supreme honor to this body, displaying such an offering of loving kindness? When he said, "It's out of my gratitude and thankfulness that I show such supreme honor toward the Blessed One and display such an offering of loving kindness to him. Because the Blessed One is practicing for the welfare of many people, for the happiness of many people. He has established many people in the noble method that is in the way of the good Dhamma, in the way of the wholesome Dhamma. This is one reason I show such supreme honor toward the Blessed One and display such an offering of loving kindness to him." And then he goes on, the rest of the other 9 things are, the way the Buddha lived his life, his wholesome behavior, dwelling in the forest and remote lodgings, being content with whatever requisites were given to him, worthy of gifts, hospitality, offerings, etc. This is his conduct. Being able to engage with the Dhamma whenever he wanted to. These are all things that are available to most of us. But being able to go into the jhanas, deep meditation, and then the Buddha's, the next 2 are things that happened on the night of the Buddha's enlightenment, seeing his thousands of past lives, knowing who he was when he was reborn again and again and again. And that process, along with the next one, clarifies how karma works for the Buddha. The next one is that he is able to see other beings passing away and being reborn according to their actions in previous lives, and are really coming to know directly how karma works. And the last one, becoming fully enlightened. So having gratitude for myself, I know I have incredible gratitude for my teachers. There have been a number of them. And it's just, it overflows. So you may have had a chance to think about what you're grateful for. I know the Thanksgiving kind of event, if I call it that, family members getting together, that I attended a couple days ago, there was no discussion of what you're grateful for. But I had a really nice time talking with some of the young people in the family. There are two kids that I've watched grow up, and now they're both in college, and these young men now. It was really nice to hear a bit about what's happening in their lives, and I got a chance to talk with my grandchildren a fair bit. I have a granddaughter who's 17, and my grandson is 14. And so high school, preparing for college. So that was nice. I was grateful to have that time with them. It's nice to see them all growing up into being such fine people. And but maybe your gatherings or your opportunity, you've had opportunities to think about what you're grateful for. When I think about that, of course, if we're paying attention, I think there's always something to be grateful for every moment. Even some of our worst moments, there's always something that is a kind of redeeming quality. And I find it helpful to remember that we can even be grateful for the things that our society often encourages us to complain about. Like, have you ever felt grateful for taxes? I mean, think of all the good things, at least in the cultures that I think we're in, all the great things that we have at our disposal because of taxes, schools and roads and lots of services and safety to some large degree. And, thinking about, being grateful of the things that went well through your day. And you can even be grateful for the things that didn't go wrong. Grateful even for the things that went wrong, because it's our opportunity to practice and to learn and to forgive and to be kind, to be compassionate. We can be grateful for the mistakes we make and how much we learn from them. And it really is a practice, isn't it? To see the world through gratitude rather than criticism and disappointment. It's all right there, every moment. There's one moment that really stands out for me. I probably have mentioned it at other times too. I think it was during that period of time when I knew I wanted to ordain, but I hadn't yet figured out how to make that happen. Found the right place, or probably kind of on my way to travel to visit various places where women were training. And I just felt such incredible gratitude for Ajahn Pasanno and all that he had done to help me. And he really, along with a number of other monks, really opened the Dhamma up for me. And he was such a solid support whenever I had questions. He wasn't always patient with me. My feelings were hurt a few times, but that was also something to be grateful for, because I really could go deep inside to understand what that sensitivity was, why I would feel hurt by that. It's helpful. And I just had this overwhelming feeling at that time of wishing I could just provide for all his needs for the rest of his life. And it's interesting how when our mind has certain experiences like that, that it really sticks with us. We can come back to that and recall how that feels. And it really can help to lift us up. So I'd like to hear if you have any stories or questions or comments. What did you think of the suttas? Sometimes suttas can be a little challenging to assimilate through the language. But if we think of them in the context of our experience, usually we can get a better sense of them sometimes. Any thoughts?
Thank you, Ayya. I'm very grateful for this talk. I do have a little question about the sutta. Maybe also because of my language ability. I don't quite understand what would be like betray your enemy. I was thinking, I would like to know some examples to avoid that happening.
Right, to not betray them. To betray someone, to really do something sort of deceitful or cruel, or kind of put them in a situation where they're going to be ridiculed or harmed. I would think of it like that, and how we don't want to do that to anyone. And we don't want to do those things because it hurts us. And if we feel like we want to harm someone else, we want to really look into that and change our attitude. Because whatever we do by body, speech, or mind affects us as well as others. Maybe that sounds like sort of a self-serving place to come from, but the feeling of it is that there's a certain respect for ourselves and kindness and compassion for others. Even if we may see them as maybe they are an enemy, or maybe they're very challenging for us. I mean, I like to think I don't have any enemies. They might feel, I think about the Buddha. He said, I don't argue with anyone. They argue with me, but I don't argue with them. It's like if we can hold that when we're feeling in an antagonistic position with someone else, we really benefit from looking at what the cause of that is internally and resolving what's inside of us so that we can see what's happening with them. We still protect ourselves. That's totally fine, but we don't want to betray them.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Very grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was Saka's insight. It's like, even someone who's really my enemy, I don't want to betray them. It's beneath us to do that. It's unwholesome. Yeah, it's so important. And also to see that, I know well that urge to say something, to talk about somebody else. And what I see in that is that there's something I've not resolved in myself. So having some compassion for yourself as well, and then taking the time to be present with what's happening inside. And I talk about this a lot, like how to process our own feelings, how to process our own, dukkha, suffering. And it's not an intellectual process. It goes to the level of of feeling in, and not just feeling. That's how it starts. You notice the feeling as it presents in your body, but it has to come to the level of letting go and opening enough so that wisdom arises from deep under whatever it is. and then it's a loosening of the knot of whatever it is that caused the mind to be disturbed, the heart to be bothered by it. So when we do something like you described, which happens to all of us, I'm sure, then we can take that as a warning, like, okay, there's something I haven't really examined enough or allowed to heal enough to really open up to that and let it unwind. Even after all these years of practice, I can feel the resistance to doing the process. It's funny. And it's like, okay, I'm going to sit down and really let my awareness go to this issue, really be present with it, really experience it, and then open up to what is beneath it. Let it come out. And it's amazing how much lighter we can feel and free, and our attitude toward that other person has changed. And so just noticing that there's when we have this urge to say something or maybe avoid someone, or like whatever that barrier is, that really use that as a motivator, and forgive ourselves when we don't act in the way that we would like to too, because this is just part of the whole human process. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It just amazes me that this is actually the process that the Buddha laid out in the first three Noble Truths, turning towards the internal suffering, the dukkha we feel, being present with that, coming to understand the root causes of it. And when that understanding happens, then the knot unravels. And sometimes it's quite subtle, but we can really feel it. And we go from there, we're lighter. It's amazing. Yeah. You're also pointing at how we can recognize that the sense of self is coming up strong. Like when that happens, I mean, a lot of our emotions really solidify the sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
And then to recognize that and to remember that this is a delusion.
Right. Yeah. Well, I got really interested. Like, I always thought delusion was something else, but now I realized, oh, I'm under a lot of delusion. I always thought I was under more hatred, but
Delusion's always behind it. Whatever, if it's
Right.
hatred, if it's greed, it's still.
That's right. Yeah, delusion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It can be helpful sometimes to remember that, being a collection of changing processes and not a solid personality, we can remember that that's true of others too. We might have an image of someone from a long time ago and we still think they're that way. If we can remind ourselves that this person is also changing constantly, and how can we be present with who they are now? What's there now? Yeah. Kima? Kima?
I'm trying to get my phone off there. Hello, thank you. I thought this is really helpful. Thank you all. And I had a situation with my relatives I'm visiting, and it kind of relates to this. And my brother-in-law, I find it interesting that the Buddha said and that he was ungrateful. So he describes it, what it is, why this behavior. And I find that really important. That's what the Buddha's teachings have helped me to distinguish gradually what is what. And so what happened yesterday, I was noticing my aversion to my brother-in-law, and I was reflecting on it, and I noticed, there's anger. This is what I'm aversive to. What this behavior was very, I would not have been able to identify that in the past, but because of the teachings, I know, that's anger. And the body language, the little gestures, and I realized, he doesn't realize the danger in this anger, and that's really sad, painful. And I could see the pain in it and learn from about myself. This is why I've had aversion to others. This kind of behavior brings this up in me, and I do it too, but I don't indulge in anger as much. I would say it's much more subtle if it's there, and I don't. Because I have so many more useful feelings and teachings to. It's not entertaining anymore to be in anger. It's not useful. But I've trained. So somebody who has no training, I could have compassion for. It brought up a lot more connection and compassion, and and it softened all my aversion. And then so today, and I took a pause, and I was just getting space from that. And anyway, it was much easier to it's like the energy just shifted because I was acting. I'm sure he felt my response to it.
Right.
So anyway, I think that just to name things sometimes I find very helpful, to see it in the Dhamma context,
and also understanding, we know how that feels in ourselves, and to know how stressful it is. And, it's just so beautiful what you're saying about recognizing what's happening for him, and then also that triggers something in you, because that's a very common human experience. Someone else maybe they're misbehaving pretty badly or whatever, maybe, but whatever it is that is triggering something in us because of whatever past experiences we've had. And then when we're triggered like that, we're not mindful. We're not aware. And what you're describing is, you can see, but if we are aware, if we can see that we're being triggered, if we can see that, these are the feelings I'm having, if the awareness is there, then we don't act on it. It's really,
Yeah, that did take mindfulness to be able to see what's happening. It takes thankfully, that definitely has to have mindfulness to see it and pay attention to what is this?
Mhm.
Something's going on here. What are my choices? What to investigate?
Mhm.
What is this? And yeah, something. Yeah, so thanks. I'm so grateful that for the Dhamma and the teachings that I have access.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I wouldn't figure that out on my own. So
It's certainly wonderful to have the teachings. Changed my life enormously. Yeah. Thank you, Kema.
thank you.
Anyone else have anything they want to share here at the end? Last thoughts? I hope you all have a great week.
I'm going to need it, Ayya.
You're going to need it, huh? Oh,
I needed this.
Oh, good.
Very relevant.
Good. Yeah, this kind of stuff is happening with us all the time. Yeah. And it's such a great opportunity to know ourselves better and to let go. Be happy.